Den 313, welcome back. Stephen Will here. Welcome back to another episode from the Detroit Den, your go-to source for Detroit Lions content. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. You don't want to miss any of our future videos. We're getting hot at the right time. William, interesting topic today, interesting question that you asked me. Tee it up for the people, tell them what we're talking.
Well, before I tee up the topic, I want to remind everybody about that we will be soon to be giving this bad boy away right here.
Later tonight.
So, hey, be ready, guys. You need to be a member to be able to be in the raffle for Amon-Ra St. Brown's jersey here, new style. So
6 jerseys, looking at some game tickets, some signed helmets, all kinds of stuff. Parking passes. We're gonna give away it all.
You never know.
Got to be a member.
I also will be sending that with Steve's address. But anyways,
wow.
So hey, today I'm not gonna speak for Steve. I'm sure he has too, but I've got a couple of messages and a couple of comments saying that I and we never question Brad Holmes. We're just loyal servants of Brad. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're just loyal servants. Levi Onzarike. We're just loyal servants, and we just talk about whatever he does is golden. So today we're gonna talk about Brad, and we're gonna question did Brad make the right decision in this NFL draft? I know everyone is giving A's and B's for the most part, but there are a few people that have had some questions, and we've talked about it, and we've said I gave it almost A. I gave it 89.9%, and Steve gave it an A, I believe. A in the draft, correct? Yeah, A minus on the draft. So we thought that it was a successful draft, but with success, there's always a way that you can kind of question things and wonder what if. So, Steve, how do you feel about the draft, and how do you feel about this topic specifically? I've seen it put out multiple times via Twitter, via solid sources, that if Terrion Arnold was not on the board, the Detroit Lions were going to trade up to get Darius Robinson. Knowing all of the things that you know now, do you think we made the right decision?
First and foremost, yeah, we're Brad Holmes supporters. 100%. He's our GM. He's the best GM the Detroit Lions have ever had. Do I love every single move he's made? No. Can I rationalize it and understand why he made that move? Yes. I think that's the difference between us and a lot of other YouTubers who just lock on to a thought process and it just consumes their mind. Like, I might not like it. It's not my job. If my job was from 4 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night to study prospects and do interviews and questions and film and every single thing that comes with being a GM, I probably have a much better understanding, but that's not my job. My job is to sit here. Well, it's not my real job. We have real jobs, but podcast world, we sit here, we watch film for a couple hours and we try to formulate an opinion. Did Brad Holmes make the right move trading up for Terrion Arnold and not Darius Robinson? 1,000% yes. You know my thoughts on Darius Robinson. It wasn't sexy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a position of need, and I think his position of need was sexier, the edge position. But like I've said before, you can fix your pass rush with lockdown secondary. Do we have lockdown secondary? Time will tell. But is our secondary better than it was last year, where I gave you guys a bunch of stats in yesterday's episode? If you guys want to go check that out, I'll tag that video at the end of this. I gave you guys a bunch of stats for where our defense ranked. We gave up the most plays over 20 yards. We gave up almost 4,600 yards total. Like, our defense ranked last in a lot of categories. And I would say most of that falls on the secondary. Our secondary, who are we bringing back? Starting secondary: Brian Branch, Ife Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph. We got all brand new corners. So time will tell if our issues have really been fixed. But yes, I think Brad Holmes made the absolute right move, trading for Terrion Arnold and not Darius Robinson.
Steve.
You got that look on your face that scares me, that little smirk.
I got to say, pump the brakes.
Wow.
Yeah, listen.
I was hoping we weren't going down this road today, William, but here we are.
We're going down, man. We're going down. Listen, now there's a difference between me just saying flat out Brad's wrong, or me saying that I could definitely see it in a world. And if I was choosing, and this might be why I'm not the GM, so guys, feel free to put it in the comments. I have very thick skin. You guys rarely hurt my feelings, but there has been a couple of times I shed a couple of tears. But I digress. I look at it like this, and this is what I'm thinking about. In a world where some of these corners were still there, in a world where we got Ennis Rakestraw at pick 61, is there a world where we could have had Darius Robinson and Ennis Rakestraw? So Darius Robinson is now opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Do I really like that world? Do I like that world better? Do I like that world better than Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw on the same team? I love the world of Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw on the same team, but I love even more uh, the idea of Ennis Rakestraw and Darius Robinson on the same team with Carlton Davis, with Amik Robertson, with Emmanuel Mosley, with the developing Stephen Gilmore, with my other Gilmore that I've been just lobbying for to come for the Detroit Lions as a free agent and kind of, Stephon, hey man, just come out here for a year or two and lock things down and kick the can down the road. So knowing that those options are there, does the idea that excite me, and did it excite me towards the end of this draft? I kind of was telling everybody as the process was going, that guy was growing on me like a fungus. He was just, when I would watch the film, while he wasn't twitched up, and you guys know if you watch the show, I love these twitched up guys, but he was Senior Bowl, he was just unblockable. Nobody was blocking him, period. He just wasn't getting blocked. So, and it stood out to me what Dan Campbell had mentioned, and I think that's why they were looking at him. It's not always about getting another edge rusher that can get to the quarterback opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. It may just be about getting somebody that can anchor and getting somebody that can send all the quarterbacks back, send the running backs back to Aiden Hutchinson. So just holding down that side. So, man, that's kind of where I'm at. If I was choosing, and there's no way that you could know how the draft was going to go. We couldn't know how the board was going to go, but that's why I preface the question, knowing all the things that you know now, those corners that were available, and the fact that we got Ennis Rakestraw, just having those two guys, man, and knowing that now the 1-2 punch that we're worried about, we talk about it all the time. Marcus Davenport is a beast. Look out, thoughts and prayers. That's something we just said in our last episode. If Marcus Davenport is a beast and Darius Robinson is a beast, man, that 1-2 punch would have been thoughts and nightmares. You know what I mean? So that's where my mind was going, man, because this secondary is deep. And honestly, we're going to be in a situation where there's going to be an oddball out, right? And it's most likely not going to be the young dogs. We're going to stick with those young dogs and let them battle it out. So Kendall Vildor, I'm sorry, man. I hear about the things that you do and what you offer as far as your grittiness, man, and I appreciate that. Amongst all of the other things, and the big one, the whole football face mask thing. But you're probably odd man out. Stephen Gilmore, you're fighting for your life at this point. It's just tough sailing, but I think maybe some of those guys, man, that one guy that's going to end up being odd man out, that's tough. That Emmanuel Mosley or Amik Robertson, that guy could have been a contributor that could have stayed in our secondary, and we could have added Darius Robinson, and I really like the thought of that.
Where would you have ranked Darius Robinson on your pass rushers going into the draft, knowing what before the draft started? Where would you have put him as an edge rusher?
Honestly, I just don't look at him as an edge rusher. When I'm thinking about edge rushers, I'm thinking about the big three. I'm thinking about Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, and Liatu Latu. So I'm looking at him more as an anchor, man. And I think that can be a very solid piece. You just have to change your scheme up a little bit. And I also think about, too, man, you got two guys rushing up the field trying to go get that quarterback. It creates running lanes. So I think it is important, maybe not necessarily to have two guys putting their ears back. And I know it can be scheme related and you can taper those guys back. But if you got a guy that wants to get 15 sacks, it's going to be tough to taper him down, get him to anchor, get heels deep in that back fruit and sit, rather than just trying to go get these quarterbacks. So I think that's something Darius Robinson would have been okay with. And he had the versatility to play defensive tackle too. And he wanted to come home. So for all of those reasons, man, it was just a feel-good story. I like this skill set because it can't just be about feel-good stories. I like this skill set and how it would have fit with the Detroit Lions. So for those reasons, man, if knowing the things that I know now, I would have loved to have Ennis Rakestraw and Darius Robinson. Maybe I'm an idiot, but that's just how I feel.
You know what I did yesterday, William?
What'd you
do? I was working yesterday and wasn't really working. I was watching film on Terrion Arnold. What I like to do is go back and rewatch the biggest game of Alabama's season last year. Who was Terrion Arnold's toughest matchup? It was probably against LSU. They had 2 wide receivers go in the first round, Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors. So I turned on the game, had some lunch. What I watched Terrion Arnold do in that game was absolutely extraordinary. He was locked down. And I don't like to say that word without absolutely meaning it. So if you guys haven't watched that game, or if you need to go back and rewatch it, my only question I had in that game was, I think he might have got away with a couple pass interference calls that could get called in the NFL. He gets a little handsy, but he's physical. Sometimes physicality is good. When I watch him, and I go back and I rewatch the plays where they directly throw to him, I watch him getting his head around, making a play on the ball, batting it away, trying to intercept it. He had an interception in that game too. Covering Malik Neighbors, how he forces them to the boundary and forces the quarterback to put that ball into an even tighter window. And we're talking about Jaden Daniels, who won the Heisman Trophy. Like this kid was no joke. So we got to take that into effect too. Like he went against the Heisman Trophy winner and 2 wide receivers went in the first round. And he played probably his best game of the season, I think. Yeah. Have I watched every single Alabama game? No. So if you're giving me a kid like that, who's tried and true in the SEC, and I know Darius Robinson's from the SEC as well, but as a passing league, to watch a corner play physical, get his head around, put receivers in a tougher position to make plays. If that translates to the NFL, buddy, we're going to have a Sauce Gardner on our hands. I'll just go ahead and say a hot take.
Stop immediately.
Hot take.
I was with you until you mentioned Sauce
hot take.
Gardner.
Hate it or love it.
Listen. I was with you. I was tracking. I was even going to sprinkle some breadcrumbs and put some sprinkles on top of it.
You want another hot take?
What you got?
Terrion Arnold will have more interceptions this year than Sauce Gardner did his rookie year.
But I mean, that's not saying too much. But listen, he's got to win a starting job first, though. But like I said, I'm with you with everything outside of Sauce Gardner. I think that Terrion Arnold is going to be a heck of a corner in this NFL. He's talking about Go Jackets and everything already. I think pump the brakes there, but I think that he is definitely going to be a fan favorite. He's definitely going to be, like I said, solid, above average. Like I don't want to throw words about like great and elite when he hasn't taken a snap, but I'm not worried about him playing the position. But I just think that it just necessarily wasn't a position of need when we could have got it later on, knowing the things that I know now. You know what I mean? Knowing and I before you guys even say you can't do that and say, knowing the things that you know now, we did know what the secondary situation was when we went up and got him. We knew that a crap load of offensive players went, and there was a ton of secondary guys still available.
And we talked about that's what we wanted to happen.
Yeah, we knew that,
day
man.
One. We said, hey, the more offensive players that go in this draft, more linemen, quarterbacks, wide receivers. And we even said, if someone likes Bo Nix and Michael Penix to take them ahead of us, that's great for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we did. We talked about the numbers game. We hammered that numbers game. And it honestly, I'll be honest, I thought that Bo Nix or Penix would get picked in the first round. I didn't think that necessarily both of them. I knew it was a possibility, and we talked about it, but I had a strong suspicion that one of them would go in the first round, and then the other one would be at a minimum early second round, or somebody would trade up into, like, I thought maybe we would get a trade up to 30, 31, 32 for somebody trying to go get their quarterback and jump ahead, but it was an even better situation. So the linemen, the edge rushers, all the defensive players, man, all the receivers, all the quarterbacks, it worked out. So we did know that there were some corners that were going to be available. We were just that high on Terrion Arnold, and I'm not taking anything away because I absolutely love Terrion Arnold. I talked about it before. But yeah, just hindsight 2020, I would like to have a dominant guy as far as power, because it's one thing. You might say that Darius Robinson isn't twitched up, and I'll agree, but you're not going to talk about his power. That man is powerful. And just the thought of having Aiden Hutchinson, Liam McNeil, DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, and Darius Robinson. So you're telling me those two guys are going to be fresh? We're just going to keep tossing one of them at you. You're gonna tell me that I can kind of monitor Marcus Davenport's snap counts. So, you know, we know what his injury history has been. We know how many snaps he's been playing. So I can put him on a snap count with Darius Robinson. Man, just the thought of that, man, are the reasons why I'm like, man, I kind of wish we would have went that route. But all that being said, I still am with all the things I said about Terrion Arnold. I think he's going to be a star. I think he's going to be a beast. I think he's going to be one of those players that everybody falls in love with. He's going to have commercials. His personality is unbelievable. His game is solid. I love the kid, man, already. So not to throw any shade on him, but sometimes it's just about the best football move. And I'm just giving my opinion on the best football move. But hey, yeah, it remains to be seen, man. Maybe we're just going to blitz everybody, lock up man to man, and have the greatest defensive show on turf.
You know what happens next week, William?
I do. Schedule.
You know the Lions play the Cardinals in Arizona. I think Detroit Den 3-3 needs to catch a flight out to Phoenix and catch a game.
Hey, my sister's out there, man.
I mean, she'll probably let me stay with her. You might have to get an Airbnb or something, but I think she, or maybe a hotel. I don't know. But I think we need to go out there and see both these guys on the field at the same time. Not at the same time, but, you know, one at each time.
Yeah, it's not the worst idea you've had.
I don't think I've ever had a bad idea, if I'm being honest with you.
Guys, just start throwing them in the comments.
All right, guys, just a quick little conversation today. You know, the reports came out that Brad Holmes was looking to trade up. He was either getting Terrion Arnold, or if he wasn't available, he was going to go get Darius Robinson. Was the right move made? Leave it in the comments. Hit that like button if you're new. Stick around. Don't forget, later tonight, around probably 7:30, maybe 8. We'll see. We're doing this jersey giveaway, this away jersey, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're going to give it away. To give it away, again, you have to be a member. You have to be a member. It's a small fee for a chance to win an expensive jersey. That's all I'm going to say. So leave some comments, hit that like button, subscribe. We'll be back later with some more content.
Peace.